Hey guys, it's Mania. So back in another, I guess, card fight Vanguard reaction. So I basically watch my fights and then give my commentary on them because I say a lot of things off camera. Not bad things, but just like a lot of things off camera, like plays I made, why I made them, what happened, how this happened, type of deal, what I was thinking, why I was thinking it, and just like, and I have fun with the commentary of it. So let's go ahead and get this started with one of our more recent matches, which was Bastion Prime versus Orfist Masques. This was before Orfist got the new Cardinal Grade 1. It was just when we got Orfist Masques, and that was it. So let's go ahead and get this started, shall we? Hopefully this, yeah, okay, there we go. As per usual, these matches are done between me, and now I'm giving my commentary on it. This is literally the definition of wingus, dingus, and dumbass. Try to figure out which one I am. I am taking the statement of me, myself, and I to a whole new level. That is the only time I've ever come prepared remotely for anything in terms of the script, and that, now the scripted content is gone. So, actually, no, I do remember who wins this. I do remember who wins this match simply because of the impression it left on my mind, but this is pretty much me playing Orfist for the first time in a while. Okay, that's a lie, because I played Orfist like the day before this. But, like, more or less the first time playing Orfist for a video in a while, which is very different, because I play slightly differently on camera than I do just in casuality play, because when I'm playing casually, I will do actively something really stupid to prove an argumentative point, which somehow wins. But here, I am just playing to, like, actually try to show something off. So the whole purpose of this match was to actually show off Masques. So if it seems like I make a misplay where I could have done something, I'm probably either saving resources or trying to save a card specifically to pull off with Masques. Because as per usual, whenever a new card comes out, I don't take time to test. The videos you guys see are my quote-unquote testing. And for me, there's no such thing as testing, because I don't change my decks unless, like, there's a new card that I really want. So, unless there is that case, and it rarely is the case, I pretty much stick with the decks the way they are when I, like, do the video on them. And again, because those are technically my testing, there's no such thing as testing. So, like, here, I'm just trying to figure out what really... This is my first ever game with Masques. This is me trying to figure out how it works with the deck, how consistently it gets. As per usual, not as per usual, but as sometimes I pull off the grade 3 skill with Fort. That same day was the day that we got the intro to Will Dress, where we finally got to see the OST, and people were going crazy about, hopefully we get a new ride line too, because Fort's so inconsistent. Is that not what makes Fort's fun, though? I love, like, hitting a PG or trigger off it. Yeah, it's annoying and disappointing, but, like, it's not something that you're going to say, oh, I lost the game because of it. It's just a fun thing to be like, oh, I saw a trigger. Okay, well, it sucks to see a trigger here, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's not that sad. Like, I've hit the over plenty of times. I've hit a PG plenty of times. I hit a heal plenty of times. It's just something you kind of get used to and don't care about. But here we go, me getting to grade 3 for the first time in a while, outside of, like, the day before with Orfist. Trying to figure out plays, my first time using Garunder, trying to make sure I don't misplay with it, retire it, get the order back to hand, swing with Novorio. That I still remember being able to kill Novorio at any point as long as I'm in Abyssal Dark Knight to get my units. And my nice little setup play here, I'm trying to conserve a little bit of my CB, and as you can see, I did hold back a Novoria. Even though I know I could have gone on the multi-attack, I did want to hold it back just in case I pulled a Masques later on, so I can just hit as physically hard as possible. You know, because again, the whole point is to show off Masques. And with my drive check here, I was like, oh, perfect, I'm set. Bastion is on the first grade 3 turn. I have this and what I thought was a PG in my hand, and I'm like, safe. I can next turn use the Masques, search my deck, or I can use the PG to drop this into the drop zone, then send it to Soul, get my superior ride of Masques. Great, I'm good, I got my orders, I'm ready to kill next turn with them being at 5. Then this happens. So we do the ditch, and I'm thinking here, I'm like, ditch Sparar. Normally I like to keep Sparar on board, but I see the play with double Alden. I have 5 CB. I rarely get to do this. Let's go try hard mode, use the skill, get my draw. The heal is actually good to draw here, because even though I would rather have a drive check in that, it does give me a higher chance of seeing a grade 3, and it also still gives me guarding power. Call down the Alden, who I have not used it forever, since the last time I played Bastion, which was actually the last time I played it on camera. Then we use Alden again, sucks seeing double heals. But hey, I now have a Prime in hand, so I'm also thinking if I survive this turn, I can hit back with a Prime, do another draw 2 after calling the grade 3 that can give my stuff boost, stuff it to Soul even though I don't need to, call that, get my last Counter Blast down, because in reality, these are the only 2 cards that cause counter blasts in the deck, so once I get a full board out, I'm pretty much solid. Like, if I was playing against any deck that could nuke my rear guards, then I'd be a little bit worried about dropping all my CB in one go with Bastion, but because of what I'm at now, I'm good. And that statement right there is kind of a lie. Throwing down the front, noticing it's my only bit of guarding power. I noticed that around, here. About at this point is where I realized that the front was my only bit of guarding power, and I was done. And I kept going with the play that I was doing on the Bastion side, but I just like looked at it like, suddenly I can only block 1 of 3 attacks. Great. So this is kind of where I started thinking I have to pull a heal on the last damage, or pull an over and not die. So this is where I kind of begin to realize that maybe this Orfist deck might not be the greatest, because it went up in order amount by 1 or 2 from the original version, and I guess that kind of made me see less guard power, I guess. So kind of made me worry. Here's the fun thing, though. If this was the grade 3, I would have every single grade 3 in the deck. Okay, there's another order. That's shitty timing. Literally could have been anything else, and I probably would have been fine. And then me trying to see a heal wasn't a heal. The deck just doesn't want to let me win. And then game 2 comes around. So game 2, I am now a little bit more serious and on winning, realizing that now that I have the Masques in hand, I can be like, okay, I don't have to hold something back on the assumption I'm going to see it. I know it's in hand now. Now I can a little bit play with it. Hopefully I see the order soon, so I can try to set up my plays and do more consistent order spamming, because if I don't see it soon, I can't Superior Ride, and we all know that's a problem when you want the Persona Ride on top of the actually getting to your next grade 3. Hit with the damage, get that draw. Here's the thing. The trigger lineup for this deck is almost the exact same as my other Orfist deck before I play on the Masques, except it has 1 more draw trigger. And for some reason, not just in this matchup, but the matchups me and my friend have had after this, the draw trigger showed up so often, to the point where I'm starting to wonder if that 1 draw really made the difference, because it only changed literally by 1 draw trigger. That's it. It was just 1 more draw trigger. And it somehow always shows up for some reason, but you know, we do the standard play for me of me throwing down the Eroding Moonlight, get a token, shove 5k. It's been that way since I think set 2. We get the rush out. We try to do as much damage as possible, because we know at this point we have to hammer Bastion. We can't let them get to Prime. Prime is already helling up, and considering last game we lost because we only had limited guarding power, we sure as hell can't let them get to Prime now, because if we couldn't handle them on regular, we can't handle them on Prime. So here now we're kind of in a countdown against the clock. How can we win this? Hopefully we don't lose. Them seeing, or the Bastion side seeing a crit from this was really a good thing for Orfist. Like, that's why I kind of like playing against myself for this, because I can see it from both perspectives. Like, it sucks for this side, but hey, it's good for this side. Like, this side doesn't necessarily have to die. Like, it takes off a lot more stress than some games can have. Like, that's sometimes good about a card game. Like, it can give you a little bit of stress in the moment, but at the same time, it's like, it's not just having a fun game where, like, it negatively affects one side, but it positively affects another side. Like, as long as it's not the side that I need to have win a match, like, in some cases, I'm looking at you, Jeweled versus Youthberg, where I have to play the game 15 times, it's fine. Like, 1 or 2 extra times is fine. This game, thankfully, I didn't have to go extra attempts. It was, like, it was good. Like, Orfist, like, spoiler, Orfist wins game 2 on the first attempt. Bastion won game 1, so I didn't have to, like, do any extra attempts unless game 3 was horrible, either because of lag or something else. But, you know, we do the match, and then it just ends in its own result. We get our triggers. As I get that heal trigger, I'm just like, where were you 10 minutes ago where I fucking needed you, damn it? But, you know, that happens. We just do our small rush. We have a little bit of a CB problem, but we do have the mask in hand, and we don't have any other orders, meaning I can feel free to use it next turn, get my top 5 search, and then still get my free Persona Ride. Bastion comes down. We then do the reveal skill to get our draw. We call Alden first, I think. Yeah, we call Alden first. We use Alden's skill to call down some grade 3s, get some draws. I was originally going to call this Angel, but then I thought if I need 5 or more other units, right, for its skill to proc off to get that draw. And then as I did the skill with that, I then realized it just needs 5 units in general. So I didn't have to do that specifically, but I did, and I guess I could. So I called down another grade 3. I can afford to call that down because all my grade 3s have boost next turn regardless. I then just start swinging for numbers to face to try to, you know, again, pressure up the hand. And what I've learned about this Orfist deck, and not just this Orfist deck, but like any Orfist with Masques, is if you hit them hard enough, because Orfist Masques kind of has a space issue with what it is, because you got to run the world orders, you got to run the mask, maybe you got to run the mask searcher, you got to run the mask himself, then, you know, you got to run Orfist, Regis to get some, or OG Orfist if you want to, but that would put you in a more CB problem. Then you have to run that one Cardinal card unless you want to run or Novoria, or if you're me, when it eventually comes out, you run both. So there's just so many things to have to consider with it. So what I've learned is that if you hit Orfist hard enough, or not, if you hit Orfist hard and fast enough, you're pretty much guaranteed to kill because they can't keep up with you. And that's kind of like why I was guarding so early on here. Like, I know Prime is coming, and a general rule of thumb I've known about Prime since set 4 is do not go past 3 against them. And I don't know why I went past 3 here. I think it's because I realized I had no choice. But, you know, I play the order, try to get some search off, try to deck thin, and pray that next turn I can survive Prime because, yeah, we know Prime's in hand, and of course, because I'm playing against myself, I can visibly see the second Prime. Not like that makes a difference, but yeah, I kind of know I'm dead, so we get the shuffle, we play the order into drop, then we immediately send it to Soul to get our superior ride, Orfist Masques. By the way, to just anyone who wonders, does anyone ever read that text? I know like one person in the entirety of ever since I've done it has commented on it, and that was it. So I'm just questioning, does anyone ever read that text? Because I'm still gonna put it anyways if anyone says anything, but I mean, to be fair, I just like to have that text. It's fun to write them, but you know, call Gruenda, who sends an order to drop, always sends 1 for some reason. Swap the circles around. Oh, no, I'm not swapping circles yet. I'm getting rid of the Orfist to get back the Beyond Order, I think? Not the Beyond. I don't know why I keep calling Beyond Order. Overcoming an Eternity. But yeah, place that into Order Zone, move the tokens around, call Nuvoria for multi-attack. Again, this is not the build with the Grade 1 in it because the Grade 1 had not come out at this point. The music is getting louder again, so I'm just going to put that back down. And Nuvoria swings for, I think it got +8 in total. So, swings for 31. This is where Bastion starts to be in a little bit of trouble because this Grade 3 right here is only a 10k shield. And so we only technically have 2 PGs that can be helpful. But that draw trigger comes in clutch and gives us not only a free 10k, but a PG along with it. And at this point, this is where I realized Bastion has survived the turn. They have guaranteedly enough to guard now. Maybe not enough to win on the next turn, but enough to guard. Gruenda goes down to get me a token. And this was an accident. I didn't know what Masques' skill was up until this point. Or I kind of did. Like, I had glanced through it. So, I didn't know that Masques' skill required you to call stuff on top of it. Or sorry, recall tokens on top of circles that already have something on them. So, and I cut it when I read it. But I pretty much like right after I add this order to hand, I swing with Masques, and let's see if we can notice the cut. Is it there? Is it visible? Yeah, there it was, actually. Wait. Yeah, there it was. It was me remembering. So I didn't cut it there because I had actually remembered it, but I read it earlier and realized that it required me to call it on top of something. But thankfully, thanks to Nuvorio being existing, and that's why I kept Nuvorio just in case I made a mistake. This is what Nuvorio is useful for. I can still call the 2 tokens to get call and restand, and then thanks to Nuvorio, I can call 1 more. So I don't know why I gave this one 10k. I think I was too into the zone. I know I was listening to something in the background. I think I was focused on that, so I ended up accidentally giving it 10k. I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter. There are PGs, and this still would have had to force out a PG anyways. So, between Masques, we get our triple drive. The first check's a crit, you know, we're adding some pressure, nice to have. We make that one bigger. Again, I shouldn't have given it the extra 10k, but whatever. Then we have an order. Then we have a PG. Now I'm feeling a little bit safer. We have 2 PGs going into a prime turn. I can take the last big attack, meaning all I have to do is block the first 2 smaller attacks. And I've got 3 triggers. I got 4 triggers in hand, two of which are 15ks, one of which is a 20. I am feeling a lot more confident. Here on the Bastion side, I'm like, I got 1 hand card, Bastion Prime. What the fuck I'm about to do? Well, let's see what Chaos goes. Stand and draw, Bastion Prime. Sadly, Ronaldia does nothing here, and that's why I'm kind of disappointed here. So I just decide either I use Ronaldia to give these 2 boost, or I just send the one from Drop Zone to Soul and just keep this on board for next turn in case the situation arises. And, you know, Spari goes in the background to give Alden more numbers. Alden goes swing. We have the nice deleter theme playing in the background that I ripped off the internet. Then, you know, we guard the Masques side. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, that's me realizing that I can guard smarter, really. So, fair enough. But yeah, no, like, we're in this situation where I have to guard and Alden swinging for bigger. This is honestly why I love Prime so much. It swings for so big numbers. It does all these big attacks, and it can do this multi-attack. And this is where I'm starting to notice that I'm fucked or I win here, because I know this deck has, I think 4 crits, or if not, like a little bit extra crits, because I remember seeing 2 different type of crits in this deck. So I was thinking to myself, I got 1 PG. I can survive if they see 1 crit. If 2 crits come down, it's game. And as I don't remember this game was on camera now, but I remember that Bastion Prime loves to pull off bullshit that when I need it to win, it wins. So it worried me for a second. I was like, it's now or never. We get the draw trigger, draw a card at 10,000 power. Second check is another draw trigger. I take a sigh of relief knowing that I'm safe now. And then the final, as the things fumble. And then the final check, I want to say, was a PG, possibly, or was this a vanilla grade 3? Vanilla grade 3. Well, it was a 20k shield one, but that's not going to do anything when we have 5 attacks guaranteed next turn, and there's only 4 hand cards. Like, it doesn't matter what the 4 hand cards are. You don't need to do the math to realize that that's game. But, you know, we do the read stands, we get the numbers, and any other person, or like from the Bastion side, this is more or less game unless the opponent has a PG. But again, because I know my own hand, I can easily take the damage, and then I can get the front trigger, and then I can afford to take the Alden and block with a PG. How long does the rip go for? Oh, it goes till then, apparently. And, right, the Orfist accidentally gets flipped upside down. PG this, dropping a Masques. And sadly, I didn't get to do any big play here. I just got to draw PG, Persona Ride at 10,000 power. And at this point, it's obviously game. Like, there are 5 attacks coming the way, 4 hand cards. You can't stop this. So, and then I chose the Soul Charge G here to try to hit an Orfist in the soul for my Vanguard skill so I can blast it out to, you know, get more orders. Sadly, that didn't happen here, but I mean, I still get more numbers. The point is, like, there are 5 attacks coming. There's no way this can be stopped, so you just gotta take, like, guard the small ones, but then take the first attack to get numbers and try to see a heal trigger and make it even. Then move on to our game 3. Game 3 is where we start going, like, full try-hard. Bastion finally gets to go first, so now they got the advantage with Prime, except they don't have a Prime in hand, so we're not looking in a good situation right now. So, then we go to the Brancage side, we search the deck, we get our orders, we try to set up for the next turn. I don't think we do anything else major this turn. I think we just start swinging. Yeah, we just start swinging. We don't get any triggers. Damage check a draw trigger, because our draws is, like, showing up these games. And, yeah, Bastion, as you can see, is building its offense. It's ready. When we get to grade 3 turn, we don't have any of our Aldens, but we got some nice Farrars, we got some good boosters on background, like, we got some nice fuel prime that's going to come into it, and we have a PG. PGs don't do, well, they do a good amount against multi-attack decks like Orfist, but at the end of the day, sometimes you got to ditch PGs just to ditch PGs to survive the other decks better, and coming from a guy that played against Orfist a lot after this, yeah, I tell you what, there are times where you gotta ditch a PG. So, while seeing the PG kind of hurt, I definitely didn't feel as bad, and future me doesn't feel as bad either. But here comes the standard play, get Eroding Moonlight, get the token, get the 5k 2-set token, call Garunda to try to flip a top 7 and search orders for deck fitting, because as you can see, I don't have a Masques or a Mask in hand, which I feel like they could have given Garunda that skill to mill out any order and not just specifically worlds, but I guess it would be a little bit too broken if it could search out anything, but again, feel like it could have searched out Masques. It would have made them slightly more consistent, slightly better. But hey, we got a round 2. Try to get more stuff in drop zone 2 again. Deck thin for both Mask and the Order. Sadly, we saw a Mask during that, so that sucked for us. But it's fine. We did get to see an Order as well. 1 card out of the deck is still 1 card of the deck. No, easy. I'm sorry. Not bad, not bad. So then, we just start swinging for battle phase. We got some good numbers. We have a 30k column. We have 2 10ks. 2 of these are pretty much guaranteed to go through. We get an order in our drive check, which is bringing me a little bit of worry, because when your opponent is going second, and they have going first, and they have the possibility to get into grade 4, especially when that grade 4 is Bastion Prime, even though I know it's not in my hand, it's still pretty deadly to think about, and we lost another PG. So, on the Bastion side, now I am a little worried, because again, I haven't played Orfist enough, or against Orfist Masques enough to not know about the PG thing. So I am a little bit worried losing my PG. I was about to call that to rear guard, then I remembered, oh wait, this is the grade 2 Scumbies, so I have to draw it technically first. But call the double Sparrars. This is the first time I think I don't have like some big multi-attack play going, or like some really big number play going on, so I just kind of go with this play to get hand cards, spare, little counterblast, and then just go with that. That's literally all I run with. We get the numbers to board that isn't the start, or isn't the back center, then we go into battle phase. Swing with Sparar. We get the double intercepts going. Oh, we get the... Why did I throw down the 2 grid ones? Oh, because I wanted to use the Garundars to bounce back the 2 orders, right? That's why I did that. I wanted to... Because the deck doesn't have a soul problem, so I wanted to use the Garundars to get the orders back for next turn, and then we take the damage. It's a crit. We pull the over. That is... In my first thought, it was a disappointment because I wanted CB for next turn, but I was like, wait, I'm going to die later, so I'm going to need the over to, you know, keep the damage at a minimum, and then also at the same time, I pull the order, so I'm like, great, I'm safe. And this is what I'm starting to think, is it worth standing the Sparar just to hit a rear guard? I'm like, fuck yeah, hit the rear guard. So, get the numbers, and did I forget to use Sparar skill? I did not forget to use Sparar skill, I forgot that I used it, and there's me trying to drop the thing that gives boost. I always hate putting that to soul, because I always actively forget it's in there, so I actively try to soul blast it out. But we get that draw from the restand, and then we just hammer with the rear guards, which we could guard one of them with the PG, but it's not worth it, because we only had that 1 bit of guarding power, and next turn, if a prime comes down, when a prime comes down, we got to be careful, so we just got to save the PG and cut our losses. And A, there we go, we top deck twice in a row. We got the Masques, we got the Masques. So we ride Regis, we get our order search of Overcoming an Eternity from drop zone, so we can power up for tokens this turn. Then I think we play the other one from hand. Yes, we do, because we want to value more numbers over, I guess, consistency. Because, again, like, we can pretty much guarantee to safely take the next 3 attacks in Bastion Prime. Because, what, they have 5 attacks next turn. If they get to Prime, we have 3 free damage, and then we have a PG. So, we are safe from Bastion Prime, pretty much. Like, that's how I was looking at this. Even though I don't have it in hand, I always like to try to look at these matches. If I was playing just as that deck against something else, how would I look at this? That's how I would look at this. I am safe against Bastion Prime unless a crit comes down. So I don't need to worry about the draw. So let's get the orders out. Let's get more tokens. Let's get the numbers. And let's just go for the battle phase. We don't have field presence, which isn't the greatest, but we have pressure. And that's what matters right now. So we swing for 25. It's an easy 15k drop, and that's where Bastion starts to worry a little bit because we have only 2 cards I can guard now. We have 35k swing, gonna drop the music again. We take this one because we can't guard without dropping a PG. Masques comes down. Now, here's where a little worry comes in. We have 1 PG. If a crit comes down at all, it is game. There is triple drive. We cannot block the other 2 because they are both 35k. So, what we have to do is simple. Either take the Vanguard and hope for triggers, and I hope they don't see triggers, or PG it. I think my final thought here was PG it. Oh, I won to pass it. Why did I won to pass this? I know this was like literally like 10 minutes after, or technically in total 30 minutes after the episode aired, but why did I won to pass this? Okay, either way, draw trigger, I draw the heal, and then I just throw down the heal. Like, the draw trigger is the sole reason we're still alive. I took an unnecessary gamble. PG, drop Deciduar, because I want to call the Alden down for obvious multi-attack reasons. Stand and draw, top deck Prime. This is not the first time Bastion has top deck, and this will definitely not be the last time. Weirdly enough, every time it's top deck, it has top deck into a Prime. Swap the circles, kill the Searcher because we don't need any more, call Alden, use Alden's skill. You know what's weird? Every time I use this Searcher to hit a Bastion, because I don't have one, I never get a Bastion. But every time I use it when I don't have a Bastion and I need a Bastion, I don't hit a Bastion. It doesn't make sense to me. So, we call down our stuff, we get our draws, we don't use skill of the grade 3 because it's not needed. We have boost to everything now except for the Sparar, but by blasting out the Ronaldo in Soul, we give boost to the remaining back row unit. So all around, we are looking pretty solid in our endeavors. There is not much to worry about. We start swinging. And I'm over here again looking pretty because half of my hand can guard, and all I have to do is, you know, just, because now there's only 4 attacks left. So all I have to do is just block one of them and hope the crit doesn't come down, and I'm safe. So I take this one thing and I'm fine. Front trigger. Plus 10 to front row. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The Vanguard comes in. Again, I could PG this, but it's fine. Triple drive. First check, no trigger. Second check, no trigger. Third check. This is what I mean by when Bastion top decks, or when Bastion needs a top deck, it top decks. It sees the crit, and this is where, and I don't pause, obviously, the gameplay. I'm able to read this out of my head, but as I'm going with it, I'm like, so that's game unless I see a heal. I think 2 heals have come down now for Orfist. I know the over's out. It's somewhere on the side. I have the P, or was that last game? I don't remember. I think it was, no, it was this game. I have a PG in hand. I'm going to 5 now. So, and I cannot see the heal on any of those 2 damages because it won't activate, meaning I have to see the heal on the 6th and final check, and I think half of them are gone. So, right then and there, for me, the game's already finished. It's game over. There's no winning anymore. Bastion has officially won because it literally top decked a crit in the final moments. But, hey, what can you do about it? I see a draw. My hope is still a little bit alive. Okay, I got some guarding power, so I'm not entirely dead yet. So I haven't done the math yet on the attacks. So I'm like, okay, I got a front. I'm at 33,000. There's a chance. There's a chance I can pull this back. The board stands. Everything gets plus 10. And this is when I remember, right, everything in total got plus, well, the columns got plus 20. So these columns that were originally like 28 are now 48. Actually, in hindsight, could I have blocked? Oh, but Sparar got the trigger. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, that actually kind of made the difference, because, what, isn't that 33, 35 exactly enough? Yeah, exactly enough to hit over the front trigger. So, yeah, that trigger screwed me over. At the end of the day, Orfist lost. Orfist lost on the virtues of a trigger, but, like, that's just how Bastion rolls. It hits hard, it hits fast, it hits with a lot of attacks, but that's just how it went. Either way, though, the deck worked solidly on its first attempt. Orfist did get a lot of searching done. It got through a lot of searches. It doesn't need the Dragon Tree marker because it already gets enough numbers as is. It just needs the guarding power and the space to actually pull off its bullshit. But either way, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join Discord, follow Twitch. I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.